So having a decent ear is a big part of, being a decent soloist or a good soloist. The better your ear is, the better you're going to be able to hear the melodies you're going to want to play. And so I want to encourage you to be working and strengthening your ear training. Now, some of you can get that from lessons from the teacher down the street and such, and you can find it in books. Spend some time taking yourself through some ear training exercises. There's a lot of great, lot of right answers to that, basically. One thing you can do that's always great is when you're sitting around listening to some of the great players in blues, like a B.B. King. Try to listen to the note he plays, and then find out what key of the song's in, and then grab onto that note after he or she's playing a note, and use your ears that way. And that's actually, many of us do play guitar that way, but I want to stress what a great thing that is to do for your ears. Another thing that's really good to do is to, if you are able to do this, to start writing music out and transcribe the music that you're hearing by ear. That really, you learn a lot from that. But the process of transcribing makes you break those rhythms down that you're hearing, and you have to understand those rhythms before you can write them out. So that actually makes you a lot more of an articulate musician, being able or spending time transcribing for a long period of time. That's a great thing to be working on. Now, there's a lot of exercises that are great, but I'm going to show you one or two things that are pretty easy to do. I'm not going to say they're easy to play. They take a little getting used to, but you can literally take a C chord, for instance, like this, and maybe go C, F, G, C on the guitar. And now, once you've established that sound in your head, try just hitting a random note anywhere on the guitar. That's an F sharp note, by the way. I'm not looking at my hand, but I know what that set note sounds like in relationship to the note C. I'm going to play it right now. That's an F sharp. So every note that is in the chromatic octave anywhere has its own color or sound, and some of them you're probably well aware of, like when you're playing the blues. Now, if E is my tonic, I'm not a great singer, by the way, so bear with me on that. If E is my tonic, this note G, that's actually a minor third above the note E, or 3 frets on the guitar. So make a point to learn the intervals and get the sound of the intervals, for every song you can imagine, there is, for every interval you can imagine, there's a song that you've probably grown up listening to. Let me give you a case in point. I don't remember the key right now, but I remember hearing this interval in a Beatles song. It was the introduction. The two of us writing was On Our Way Back Home. It was off the record Let It Be. Now that interval, I came to find out later, was an interval of a major sixth, and that's called association. You want to associate intervals with a sound or a song that you know. Somewhere over the rainbow. That's an octave. So there's a melody that you've sang all your life. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Okay, that's a perfect fifth. So get to know the intervals and get to know the sound that is associated with that, because chances are you've been singing those intervals. Well, you want to get to where you can hear those intervals when you're playing a chord. Here's my point. If I do this, and I get a sound of a C in my head, and somebody hits some note like this, that's an E of the chord. That's the third of the chord. I'm not looking at my hands, but I can hear that's a flat 7. That's a B flat note. That's the flat 7 of the C7 chord. Now, you want to learn those sounds, because when people are playing chords with you, or solos or whatever, you want to get familiar with the process and knowing what's going on with the music, because then you can react. You're reacting from a point of being a blues player. You want to play soulfully, but you also want to know what's happening with the music. So I want to encourage you, you can take these exercises like this and just practice playing a C, and then maybe make a tape or something like that of random notes that are near that chord somewhere, and play the chords twice, 1, 4, 5, and then play that interval, and then announce that as being the note B after a little bit, and then play it again, and maybe play another note. That's a D. I mean, I looked at my hand too, but and then play it twice, and then announce it on the tape. So basically try to get the sound and what they call the color of these different notes. Because when you're playing chords and soloing over a certain song, you hear musicians throwing things at you. You want to know what it is they're giving you. So work on your ear. There's a lot of great ear training exercises that you can do. But these are pretty good ones right here.